All right, let's go ahead and get underway. So again, thanks so much for joining us for today's session of this month at ActivePipe. My name is Cameron, and I'm going to be leading you through our session today, focusing on all of the ways that you can automate your email campaigns here at ActivePipe to help you save time in your email marketing. We're going to exclusively focus on the email builder and some of the tools that you have to filter in properties automatically for you. If you do have questions about other things, somewhat related or unrelated to that, we will have about 10 minutes open at the back end of our session today. It should be a pretty quick one running through automation. So we'll make sure to have those questions, be able to address those together this afternoon. If those questions do pop up, please drop them into the Q&A box and we'll make sure we get to them throughout the course of our session this afternoon. Before we jump in, I want to make sure everyone can hear my voice and see my screen. So please just let me know that the audio and screen's working for you. You should see the dashboard. Looks like we're all set to go. So let's go ahead and jump in. So what we're focusing on today is all about automation. So just a couple things to kind of chat through right off the bat. First, you're not going to have to worry right here when we're starting out today talking about your contacts, but while we're thinking of automation and how you want to set up an email or a campaign of emails to have those go out automatically on your behalf, um, you also want to start to think on the flip side of there, do I have my contacts organized in the right way to be able to facilitate that? So we'll touch on that when we're rounding out how to actually set these campaigns live. But I want to reinforce that throughout today. Though, even though we're not talking about it exclusively, you want to make sure that you have a good sense for the people who are in your account and how they are organized, because that's going to be the key to setting up this automation. So let's go and talk through how to exactly do this, and then we'll walk through a couple of examples of what this is going to look like. So first, right off the bat, if you joined us for any of our trainings in the past, you'll know here, this is your dashboard, your home screen. Anytime you need to navigate around your account, you're simply going to take your mouse, drag it to the far left, and here you'll have this pop out window, which allows you to navigate across your account. So first things first, what we are going to do is talk about our emails. So when I go to select emails, what this is going to do is pull up my personal email library. So these are all of the emails that I've ever created. Anything that you create and add into ActivePipe is going to be available for you to either see and reuse again, or you can duplicate it and literally just change out some stuff. So this is a really, really great part of it. When you go to create this email in the top right-hand corner, you're now going to have all of your templates to choose from, right? So these are the building blocks of your email. You might have a couple of different ones. You may have a blank canvas like we're seeing right here. You also might have something for open homes, new listings, or a newsletter. So you might have a little more variety. Again, this is just our demo account that has a blank canvas right here. So we're going to select our template and we're going to give this a name. So I'm just going to go through, give a quick name. This is for my internal purposes only. For you, you can name it however you would like. That's, you're able to best find it in your account. We're going to click continue. Now, when we do this, we've talked extensively throughout our this month at ActivePipe sessions about some of the tools that are available for you to build an email. So we're going to quickly run through those together. And I want to focus pretty much for today's session over on the right-hand side. Know that you can always add in things like a heading. You can add in more text columns. You can add your own images to an email or a combination of those using text and images. But what we want to focus on today with our automation is going to be our property section. So let's just take, for example, that you have an email that you want to send out either every week or every month to a subset of the contacts that are in your account. Maybe you want to start it out with our template here where it's a nice introduction about the properties that you want to be sharing in the market right now and a reason behind that. We want to make sure that that text, if you are including text right here, that that is suitable to for a repeated campaign, meaning you want it to be generic enough that it could fit within any email that you send week to week, to avoid having to come back in here and change up that text. So that's just something for you to be aware of. What's really great about what we have set up right here off the bat is that we're using custom fields to pull in your recipient's information. So as an example, even though I'm setting this email up to go out automatically, I'm going to also always pull in my contact's first name, helping me add that little touch of personalization that people appreciate. And then as well, I'm going to pull in my own details at the bottom. So these are things you can always do just to show you how to quickly facilitate that. You have your introduction right here. In the font, in the toolbar right up here where the text is, you're going to see a placeholder section. When you select placeholders, you'll just come down and you'll see a section right below for contacts. So there you can add in your contact's first name, and that right there is going to automatically pull in that first name for every single one of your recipients. So that's really good for you to know. If you have this information about your contacts, that's going to be the one key thing. If you're using your placeholders, you're going to want to do a quick little sanity check of the contacts that are in your account, just to make sure that you have that detail about them. We don't want to send this out and not have any information in there. So we want to make sure if you're going to use those custom fields and placeholders with your recipient's contact information, that you have that stuff available in their profile. So that's just the first thing. The next thing here, so we've talked about that introduction exclusively in the property section. There's a couple of decisions for you to make. The first one is just how you want this email to be laid out. So as an example, you've got an option between a single featured property, a list of properties, and a grid. So what you could do is start this out. Let's say right here, we have our featured property. We can drag that in to the center of the screen. And what we're going to do here, you'll notice that we've dragged this in, and now we have some selections we need to make. Number one, with any of our sessions you've joined us in the past, the simple, easy way to do a one-time email is just to come down here and use this little blue and white house icon. And that allows you to search for your properties. So that's great. That's going to help you for that new listing you just won. You're really excited about it. You want to share with everyone in your database. That's a great way to be able to pull in that single property into your email. What we're focusing on today is for those of you who want to remove some of that friction, be able to set these campaigns to go out automatically without you having to go in and create the email each and every time. So what we're going to do here is take our toolbar right at the top. So this green little toolbar, you're going to see this little Wi-Fi looking symbol right here. When you toggle this button on for the feed, this is now going to allow us to define the properties we want to include in our email based off the information that we're going to filter it by. So when I select define properties, this now allows me to start to customize the kinds of properties that we're going to include in our email. So as an example, you're going to see here that we are defaulted into our residential properties. You'll see down below, we can choose between listing type, and we can also even choose our status. So we have default, which is going to default to current. We have solds, and then you can explicitly choose current. And then you get to order your properties. So if you want to order them in a specific way, it will default based off of the newest to oldest and the listing date. You can also choose to flip this up. So if you wanted to, you can choose by date modified, price low to high, or even if you're doing something related to open houses, when they're happening. So a lot of options right here. What you're going to also want to do is most likely exclude properties that are marked as under offer. That's always just a best practice to make sure any of those properties that for one reason or another that might currently be in there, that they already have an offer, you don't want to include those into your email. So that's a nice little option to have when checking that box down below. Now, where we want to start with this gives you a sense of the basics, right? How you can order the properties that are going to be included in this email. The very first determination here is what kind of email do you want to send? Because when we start to click into the advanced section, this now lets us choose the types of properties we want to add in. So if you're thinking about sending out an open homes email every Friday with open homes in your area, that's where you're going to select this open homes option right here. And then what we're going to do is simply choose the frequency in which we want to pull in those properties. So you're going to see here, we want to show open homes in, and if we're doing this for a weekend, we want to show open homes in the next 3 days. So this would be an example of a way for you to set up an automatic open house email that goes out every single week with only open homes happening in the next 3 days. So that's one option. The other option would be to select here, and we can show our properties that have just listed. So if you want to create something like a weekly new listings email, you can do that by setting up our listeds in the last 7 days, my apologies. And we're going to show all of the properties that have hit the market in the last 7 days. One thing you can also do is hit our drop down. And as an example, you may be able to pull in all of your sold properties. So if you have access to those sold properties, we can create a monthly sold report that you send out once a month. So this is really that first determination, right, of what you want to include here. You really want to choose what kind of email you're going to be sending, and that's going to dictate a lot of the things like the frequency at which you're sending this and when you're pulling those properties in. So let's just say at a very basic level, I wanted to pull in properties that were listed in the last 7 days. That's great. We can now have that single property that's been active on the market in the last 7 days, and we're going to order it by the newest to the oldest based off of our basic tab right here. So we're going to show the property that's new, and we've made that selection right here. So the newest property is going to be included in this first section. And that's a really great basic way to be able to set up some automation. For those of you though, you might want to exclusively send this out when it's your new listing. So you do have the option right here. If you toggle this button on, you can choose to only include your own listings. And this is a great way to just exclude everything else, forget about everything else that's in your property feed. And this email will just go out when we have a listing for you. So you're basically setting up your own listing alert each week. So this property will go out automatically once that property hits active status. So that's always an option. And then a couple other things just to be aware of. You can also restrict listings by certain criteria. So I know this is fairly common. Perhaps you operate in a specific area or submarket. If you want to map that out based off of zip codes or cities, you're able to add in either an individual zip code or city or multiple zip codes or cities. So you can restrict where the listings are coming from if you only want to share certain areas. So that's a great way to do that right here. What you're able to do now, let's just say we wanted to set this up. We have our listed in the last 7 days. And then finally, one other bit of customization or filtering that you can do is using our Smart Match feature. So what we're able to do, if you're looking back on our properties that have just listed in the last 7 days, we're going to pull in a single property here. And I'm actually going to restrict this at the top to my own. So I'm going to say properties listed in the last 7 days, and that's just going to be my own. That's going to be our first section. And then down below, what I'm going to do is create a list. And with this list, I'm going to toggle our property feed on. And when I go to define properties, I'm going to click listed in the last 7 days. So now this one's going to be our generic pool of properties. So up top, our first one is going to be restricted to our own, and that's going to be featured. And then down below, we're also going to have just a list view of properties that are going to be included across our brokerage. So we just want to show what else is available from an inventory perspective. What we can then do, getting back to the contact section, is that we can use Smart Match. And Smart Match, once we turn this on, allows you to actually start matching properties to your contacts based off of how they've engaged with your properties in the past. So once you start turning this on, we're going to be gathering information about your contacts, like how many beds they're looking at, what's the price they're looking at, how many square feet in the home are they looking at, and we're going to use that stuff, and we're going to then rank all of the properties that are available within your account, and we're going to use that ranking to match it to your contacts preferences. So we're going to understand what they're looking for, and on the other hand, what kind of properties are available, and we're going to start to do a little matching there to help you deliver even better matches to your contacts. So this is an awesome way to be able to send out an email to 10 or 100 people and have a really good chance that a lot of those emails are going to be personalized down to how your recipients have engaged with your content in the past. So this is a really great touch to add to your emails. And it's frankly just a smarter way to be emailing your contacts, unless you specifically know what they're looking for. In that case, you can kind of curate and pick those properties that you want to share with them. If you don't have that information, that's okay. You're still able to send your contacts those emails and deliver more personalized properties to them because we know what they've been clicking on in the past. So this is a great way to be able to do that. So all we would do here now is set up this section again with Smart Match, and it's just going to be properties that have listed in the last 7 days. We click update, and now what this is going to do, and don't worry that these properties don't have any matches right now. We're gonna match those properties once that send happens. So we would give this something like a really quick header. New listings in the area. So we give this a quick header. And now what we're going to do is come up to the top and we're going to give this a subject line. Exciting new listings. I'm going to click save up here in the top right. Now, when I do that, what we're going to do now, we always recommend previewing your email. So over here on the left, we're going to simply select preview and you'll see you've got 2 options. Again, this is just to reinforce this is a best practice, checking to see what this email is going to look like when you send it. So either sending it to yourself or viewing this email in app, it allows you to toggle between a desktop and a mobile device. And then what we're going to do is set up our automation. So by doing this, we're going to select quick send right here in the top right. Now, this gets to my original point when we first started today, talking about the importance of the contacts that are in your account and the manner in which that they are organized. One of the things that I would encourage you at all costs to do is avoid sending any or a majority of your campaigns to all of your contacts. That's a surefire way for a lot of your emails to end up in the spam folder, and it's going to impact your deliverability of any of your campaigns in the future. So we want to avoid sending to all contacts, and instead we want to focus on the basics. So if you've joined us for any of our introductory classes or back to basics with ActivePipe, you know that we stress the importance of having the right contacts in your account organized around the right groups. So what we recommend here is selecting either by searching in the search bar or going to browse our tags and audiences and making sure that you're selecting the right groups to deliver this to. So as an example, something very simple, I could add just my buyer tag to this campaign. And now what we're going to do is that starting today, we're going to deliver this campaign to about 7 people. And what's going to happen is that anytime that I add someone to this buyer's campaign or this exciting new listings in your area with our weekly listings, this campaign is going to go out to those people each week. And so we've set up our very selective group who's going to receive this. And again, this could be individual people too. So if you wanted to, you can search for someone. So here's my account as an example. If you've got a single client that you want to enroll in this, you can certainly do that too by just searching for their name and email. Now, lastly, you'll see here, we're going to default to scheduling this to go out immediately. For automation and how to set that up right here on the email page. You're simply going to schedule for a specific date and time. We're going to choose the time we want this to go out. So if we're thinking of building a weekly just listed campaign, our recommendation is to send that out on a Monday or Tuesday. So let's just say I'm going to set this up for 9 a.m. and I'm going to choose for it to go out on December the 1st. So what this is now going to do is when I click repeat this schedule, the last selection here, and I send it out every week, you'll see what kind of options you have here. But if we're setting up a weekly listing, we're going to choose every week. This campaign is now going to go out every Tuesday with any properties that I have as a featured listing, or it's going to show the rest of the properties that are available at the brokerage. So you're gonna have a really great mix of stuff there for your recipients, and it's gonna go out every Tuesday, and you don't have to worry about it. This email is automatically going to populate for you and deliver to these 8 recipients right here. And the last step, I'm not going to do this right now, is that you would actually click send, and that's going to put this into draft, and we're going to schedule it to go out for next Tuesday, December the 1st. So that's a quick run through of how to actually execute on it. And again, one thing that I just want to enforce before we open the floor to questions from the group is thinking about the types of emails that you want to be sending. So we recommend, if you're going down the path of kind of deciding what to do from an automation perspective to save yourself some time, setting up a weekly listings campaign is a great first step to do that. Setting up weekly open homes is also another fantastic step. And then as well, we'd recommend something like a monthly sold report or a monthly price change or status change for properties. And you're able to do all of those things, again, just by clicking in to define properties and then going into our advanced section and then just choosing the types of statuses you want to filter by and then the date range that you want to make them available. And then lastly, whether or not you want to exclude them, whether you want them to be just your properties or if you want it to be across your entire brokerage or MLSs if you have access to that at your brokerage. So I'm going to leave you with that. Looks like there were a couple questions from the group, so I want to make sure we get those addressed while we're all on the line. So let me see what we have here. So Jennifer's got a good question. Can you send out weekly stats through this as well? So Jennifer, I'm guessing you're referring to market insights through ActivePipe. Unfortunately, right now, market insights are not automated. So that's going to be something that you would probably want to schedule yourself to go out each month and just make those edits. It's just not automated just yet. That's a really great question. We're definitely going in that direction. Looks like we had another one in the chat box. Okay. Yeah, so Vera's got a question about what are we doing to ensure emails hit the inbox. So one of the things that we actually do, it starts when contacts are being brought into ActivePipe. We first run a check on all of the contacts coming in to make sure that we can deliver emails to those inboxes. So any contacts that you upload or get added in through your CRM, we just do a quick check to make sure that we can actually deliver to those addresses. The next thing that we do is that we've set up a number of our clients on subdomains, which allow us to be able to set up and build that sending reputation. So we do a little work there to warm up the sending reputation to deliver those. Vera, if you do have specific examples, what I would recommend doing is reaching out to our support team. They'll be the best suited to be able to address that question. And if you give those examples to them, they'll be able to look into those specific contacts that we weren't able to deliver it to. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we've got another question. If your contacts opt out or unsubscribed, does it opt them out of all ActivePipe emails? They will have the ability to either unsubscribe from you individually in all of your emails, or if you are looking in your account and you see there are categories and you're selecting categories when you're sending out your campaigns, they would also, if they wanted to, be able to choose which category they still wanted to receive email content from you for. So they would have those two choices. And then broadly from ActivePipe, we don't control contacts across the brokerage. So very likely someone else may have a contact. If it's a lead, that person could very well be in multiple accounts. We don't restrict that, but they do have the ability to opt out of all of a single campaign of yours or all of your campaigns. And all of that stuff is included at the bottom in that unsubscribe link, which has to be included in every email that goes out. Okay, let's see what else we've got here for questions. So I got a question. Will sending out listings include all MLS or just my brokerage listings with my company? That's going to be dependent on your brokerage. Some brokerages that we work with just have their own brokerage listings. Others have a combination of MLS and your brokerage as well. So I'll just send you a quick note on that, Mark, and we'll get to the bottom of that. Okay. Oh, looks like Massimo has a question about when we set up automatic emails with multiple zip codes, do we need a comma between the example? Very good. So that's a good thing to pick up on. You don't, because what you'll see when you go to restrict them, you'll just start typing in. So as an example, here's 9418. I just select 94518 and that's dropped in. I can do the same thing. So here's 94523. I just start typing in the zip codes and those will automatically populate for me and I just select them. Cool. All right. Mark, I'll need to check on yours specifically. So let me do that right after and I'll send you a quick note personally. Thank you for that information. And I want to see, we've got one more question that I can help. So let's wrap it up with this one. Yeah, so Monica, I think that might be best answered by reaching out to our support team. So I'm going to send you a quick note with their details to see why you may be getting that error message there. All right, so I'll send that to you, Monica, right here. And Mark, I'll follow up with you personally right after today. But what I want to do before we close out things, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you probably have questions about of what we've covered. What I would recommend doing if you haven't already done so is two things. One, bookmarking our support site, which is support.activepipe.com. It has fantastic resources. You can search for anything that you would like using filters as an example. So we can just type in our filters and it's going to show all of the things that we have from both the basic tab to the advanced tab and contact options with property filtering. We even have a helpful getting started guide section, an entire knowledge base, and training videos as well. So I highly encourage everyone, if you haven't already done so, just to bookmark support.activepipe.com. And I'm going to add this in to the chat box just to make it easy for everyone. So here's that link in case you want to save that. The next thing, if you are building out that email and you run into questions, you're hitting a roadblock, you'll see there's a help button in the lower left corner of my email builder right here. I can click our help button and you can chat live with our support team right in app. They're fantastic. This is the quickest way to get a question answered from our support team. So I just want to make sure that you highlight that. We'll even suggest a couple helpful articles in there, but our team will be in touch with you very quickly after you submit that question. So I'm going to follow up with Mark and Monica individually, but I want to thank everyone so much for joining us this afternoon. It was a quick session on automation, but hopefully you found some inspiration on how to be able to use some of those filterings in your day-to-day to help you save some time so you're not having to recreate the same email each week. You can start to build that out set up that structure in advance. Remember, choose the important people that you want to receive that campaign and set it up so that that email goes out without you having to do the work each week. But I want to thank everyone so much for joining us today. Hope you learned a little bit, and we look forward to seeing you at one of our upcoming this month at Active Pipe sessions. We've got one more happening on November 30th, and then we will have an entirely new slate of classes coming up in December. So we're certainly excited to provide the training you need between the holiday seasons to help with your email marketing. So I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. And Monica and Mark, I'll follow up with you both individually to get your questions resolved. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.